Corvette was smoking really. A couple of the level screws out and the gas level's right, and it quit smoking. Seems to idle and run pretty good, but so anyway, that's what I'm doing. I'm in here trying to play with this carburetor. It looks pretty bad. A lot of deposits, aluminum rust, no sealing on it. I can see that it was probably leaking pretty good. Sort of dirty. I'm going to pull that front bowl off. The accelerator pump's working good, so I'm going to leave it alone and just kind of, I don't care about the back particularly. I'll take this front apart, blow all the passages and jets and stuff out with carburetor cleaner. Hope I can do it without ruining these gaskets inside these fuel tubes. I just clean it up a little and it should be a little better than it was. Here's kind of an idea. This hood is approximately where it goes here, and you can see how far it's got to go over. That's about 18 inches. And I tried this fender. If I put it where the bolt holes are, it's really low. It's going to hit that Corvette wheel, so I'm going to have to raise that fender up. I think that's why they did this here in the back too. It's up about an inch or so or more. I think I can probably rotate these forward and get that back up. This one here looks pretty good where it's at, but I was gonna try to put a piece of the hood on there. Try to see what I had to make. I kind of hesitate to cut it right in the middle, but that's probably the best bet. So basically I got this approximately where they go and screwed them down. So I'll just I'll continue with that, and instead of screwing them, I'm just going to clean it up a little and tack weld it, and cut this hood in half. I don't know if I'll do that today. Yeah, that's it really widened it a lot, but at least I can sort of see where the curve goes, and that'll give me some idea of where I need to put my fenders. Quite a bit of cutting, patching. I got this hood where it's lined up pretty good with the back. I tacked it on there, put a brace across it, kind of flatten it out, raise it up. I got a brace on it here, and I've got it more or less in the same place here. Tacked it to a couple bolts. I'm going to have to take this Volkswagen piece out, move it in, but it looks good as far as the flat wise. But if you look down in here, got a big old crack here. So what I'm gonna do is cut this piece out, and I'm gonna put it where it matches the hood. I know the curve is good, and then just patch a piece in here, a big triangle or something. This fender right now has got a board holding it up. I can't really tell. The headlight bucket is sloped back quite a bit, so this had to be pointed up in the air. And the other one is it's completely loose too, but that's about where that's gonna go. Right now the headlight bucket is sitting on the front tire, so you see I got about 3 inches gap between the what's supposed to be the hood mount. I'll do the same thing with this one. I'll just cut this all out and make that piece straight, and form something to fit the way that hood goes. Maybe I could just do it, leave that in there, and just make it out of square tubing or something where I want it to go, and weld it in there and patch it. I don't know if I'll do that or whether I'll cut that lot off and make a patch out here. I would probably better if I cut that, and because this would just be a flat patch, and I'll have to completely form that whole hood seating arrangement. That's what I'll do. I'll just cut it. I don't think he's really got it much into anything, and I'll get this fender up where it's supposed to, and I'll try to put that patch in the bolt holes. But anyway, here's Mr. Wide Body. I've got it a little bigger at the bottom than it is up on the top, but it's like only 1/2 inch, and when it's all welded up you really won't see that much, and it's not quite straight down here. You can see that front sticking out, you know, 1.5 inches, and this one's right at the corner. And I think that Volkswagen cross member there is in crooked, because I cut that hood real straight. Who knows? I'll figure it out, and I'll get it to look right one way or the other. There it is without fenders. It's looks more like a Volkswagen now. There were a lot of them fenderless things running around, and at least I'm not going to be rubbing on anything. My headlights, I took them out, but there's the turn signals. They'll work good enough to go the couple blocks I need to go. Hope it'll still start and run. Here, cut that Volkswagen part off. They had this just put in here really bad. Brackets and junk down there's not too bad, but you can see by the welds that wasn't very good, and it was not straight either. So what I'm going to do is try to clean this up best I can and straighten it. I'll put my hood. I worked on the hood a little bit. Welded these braces in a lot better. Still pretty floppy up here, but the big part's good. Put the hood back on it. See what I got in the way of where this Volkswagen thing goes. I gotta put transmission fluid in it too. Anyway, I'll try cleaning this up here and maybe I can see what I can do and getting some measurements. It up, cleaned off. Right here, this tape measure is hanging in the center line. And if you look up, it's almost straight with the center line of where they cut the car. But the motor's actually off about 2 or 3 inches. So that's probably the way that it is. It's going to make me some fun trying to hook up the hood scoop. I don't really have any good place to put this Volkswagen centerpiece. It looks like it's about a 1/2 inch in on both sides. Yeah, so they had it pretty close. But I'm gonna, when I put it together, I'm gonna put it together a lot better than this. A lot better than it was. So now I'll get the hood on it and see where my hood winds up, and I can tell how much of this frame I'm going to have to cut. Yeah, this one's real crooked here. That one's pretty straight. Looks like it's cut further towards the back than the front. Anyway, I'll measure from volts and stuff and get it straight. I welded some little rods into the frame there, approximately the same place, and I put piece of square tubing on them, and I can measure to the fender. This one's 3 1/4. This one's 3 1/2. So I can move this one down a little. So now I can just tack these to the rod, tack the fender to the rod. Then I can pull those 1 inch squares out, and that way the hood will be in the right place. I thought about leaving them in, but you can see that flat part of the Volkswagen there to the left of the label. It's hitting the square, so I'll basically just make these things exactly the same height from the frame, and they're real close here. This one, the bolt inside there is just right past the crease, and this one is just a little bit past the crease as well. So I've got it pretty well centered, and now I'll tack these together and see what happens. The cross member for the Volkswagen, I'm touching it here. You can see it's sticking out about 1 inch past the fender, and here I'm just inside the fender. I would say that that's half an inch past those bolts. I don't know if you can see what I'm talking about there. It's been cut off half an inch longer than bolt holes. And this one's been cut off a good inch past the bolt holes. And it needs to move in about an inch. So what I'm going to try to do is cut this Volkswagen member right in the middle of that bolt hole. That should bring it in quite a bit, and both sides will be the same. Look like this frame's cut a 1/4 inch past that hole. And about the same here, a 1/4 inch past the hole. So I think if I cut them at the bolt hole, I'll have a good mark, and another half inch here will bring this under the hood. It's already right at the edge, and the other one, I think it'll work out good for that too. So I'll cut them off and stick it back under there and see what it looks like. Pretty close. That's right at the edge of the. That'll bring it back in pretty close, and then I can raise it up. It's almost clearing the hood here, and same there. So let's cut another inch of it off, shove it back up in there. There it is, on and painted. I used a 1-inch square, filled that all up and down, and then I welded a good piece across the side, 1 inch onto the frame. This top is all welded real good. I didn't do the bottom or the inside. This is not like it's a real bumper or anything. I'll probably have to figure out something for that. But it's in as short as I can get it. I had cut off half of my bracket to get the bottom bracket on that cross piece. Aluminum one, and well, it looks like this is where the radiator transmission cooler line went in. I don't know, but anyway, the front's on and straight. Kind of stubby looking now, but it looks plenty strong. So I guess I can lay the hood on it and see how well I did about clearing everything. On a super rat. I've changed carburetors. This is the Holley I rebuilt for the Road Runner. I knew it would run and start. That's all I knew, but it looks like it's good. That one there is kind of plugged up. I'll clean it up and do something else with it. Got a little linkage troubles here with the accelerator, but it's running real good. It's not missing at all. Maybe a little bit here and there, but still cold too. Yeah, it wraps up smooth, not smoking at all. Yeah, that's good. That was like carburetor was no good. Probably power valve was shot. Yeah, that sounds real good. I just have to hook up the linkage. Okay, I pretty much got it finished. Got this bumper or fender on and welded pretty good. It's about the right shape and shit. This other one, it's on and welded. Looks pretty good. It's good for the front. I left a big hole in there for put a grill in for that radiator and move that thing down. I got to make another bar across the bottom there, but it's good and solid and I can run and drive. So, and the carburetor worked good. I hooked up the linkage. I just used some zip ties for the kick down, and used a C-clamp to hold that air scoop on. So I'm kind of done for the day. The car's starting to look pretty bad. Once I cut them fenders off, it'll look a lot better. Here we are again. I got this front end straight where I want it. Now I took these fenders off, and I'll have to put these where they're centered, and I'll just tack it to the car for now. A lot of work. There it is. Pretty much where I want it. Got it centered in the wheel. It's kind of up a little high right here in front, but I've got this section here where I can weld it, and it's kind of matching up to the back of the thing. It would be pretty easy to fix that. Looks kind of straight, so I'll go ahead and tack it on a little better. Really bad patch in there, so I cut it out, just welded another piece in. I can't do a very good job because of this big welder. I got it set on low, but it's just burning right through this stuff. Anyway, I got a patch in and kind of ground off. Underneath here is this foam. I need to cap that eventually, probably. I don't know if I want to do that right now or not. Probably not. So at least that's right in the area where I'm going to weld a fender. So that's all kind of cleaned up. This is grinded off. Need to grind a little more on this. And I was beating the edges of this fender down so it'll fit flush. I won't have a big gap. Because I think once I weld this fender on, I'm going to call it quits. I'll tack it first to make sure I get the wheel off before I make it permanent, but it should be alright. And I need to weld a plate or something there for a jack, or figure out where the jack goes. Looks like somebody already bent it a little. And I cut that bottom off of there, and they started off with a really rusty Volkswagen, so I think I'll just grind this off of here and see what that looks like too. Rust hole, they just fiberglassed right over it. They didn't bother to try to cut it out or anything. So I'm just going to put a patch on it. I'm going to use a rat rod bob trick of making it look like it's sewn on. And anyway, it looks like I've got enough good metal there to where the fender's going to weld, and that's what I'm interested in now. Everything, one thing leads to another. This is just that foam stuff, some rust. Big piece of Bondo in it. But we've got this piece of skin here is not really welded onto the body. They sort of did something in here, but I've got a piece cut. It's actually a piece off of the roof and the fender. I'm going to weld this right in here, and then I can pound it over with a hammer, weld it some more on the inside. So this will make the body and the roof all one solid piece. And then I can move around welding up the fender. This thing was bent in about 30 degrees. When I first got it, I couldn't get the trunk open. I took a porta power there and squished this out to where this bar is straight again. I don't like the way they got this here in the middle. And I got to do something with that trunk. But at any rate, I've got it to where I can get to it. I'm going to clean up a lot of these old nasty welds here. They shouldn't be too hard. Do this one. It'll just make it look better. I can kind of grind all these off and make it look pretty good, because you want everywhere that you see right away, want that all pretty good. I still don't know what's happening with any of this here. Got some kind of piece in it, piece of that tubing. I don't know what this stuff's off of, but it's just thin wall tubing, not real strong or anything. Probably plenty good for this VW stuff. Anyway, a lot of work there. I hate to even look at it, but I can move forward on this. I don't know if this one's rusted out. It don't look like it. Don't look like there's maybe a little bit, but it's not a big patch. So I can weld my bracing plate in here and move on with getting this fender put on and cut off. I took the bottom piece and cut a couple inches out of it on the bottom. That much came out. Shortened the fender up and just kind of spotted it in all the way around. Looks good. It's gonna definitely have the rat rod look. I'll just put a patch over that. Got a little place here I could fill. This will be easy to do. But the bumper or fender looks good. Got it pretty much straight and level. It looks so much better than that old big piece hanging down there. So I kind of like it. Building a rat. It's going to look real nice when I'm done. They're welded in pretty good. I welded this lead piece of welding rod in there and filled it. And then I cut out this junk here. Welded a good 1-inch piece of tubing in there. It looks a little crooked, but I think that bar is crooked. It's measuring the same from the edge of the thing up to the top of the hood. Next thing I'm going to do is put this hood on it and let it down and cut that middle out of there and get it centered and weld a couple of braces in it. Bring you along when I got that cut. For the day, this fender looks pretty good. And I started cut this trunk. Got it with a piece of round rod where it's all straight across there. And I just whacked that other fender off roughly where it goes, just to see what it looks like. I'll have to do something with them mufflers. Looks a little weird with those square cut fenders. I could always change that with some round rod or something. I may do that. I may just leave it alone. It's not too bad. Once I cut all this stuff away in here, it's hanging down, and we'll see. But tomorrow I can finish straightening this trunk out, get the hinges working. My fuel cell came. I'm still waiting on a fuel pump. I can clean that all out and put the fuel cell in it and get this trunk at least braced up and closing good. It'll be another day, and shouldn't take too much longer. You know, I just measure the other fender and put this one on where it's supposed to go. Weld it. Shouldn't take too long, so I should have this back end pretty much finished tomorrow.